Hello, I'm Rob White, president of Envision Strategies. Having survived the pandemic, our world has changed dramatically. Over the past few months, we've been comparing notes with industry colleagues on new challenges faced by dining professionals and the ways they're addressing these challenges. Today, we're talking with Dustin Cutler, Senior Executive Director of Dining, Retail Services, and Print Services at Cornell, and widely considered a thought leader in our industry. Hey, Dustin, it's great to see you, and thanks for spending time with us today.
Rob, good to see you as well. Absolute pleasure and glad to connect and discuss what's kind of happening in the industry and how our company, our organization is maneuvering through these challenging times.
Yeah, great. Well, so we'd like to get your take on three themes: mission alignment, how you're addressing that with the university's mission, resource roadblocks, and overcoming complexities. But before we get into these, I wonder if you could give us a little overview of Cornell as a university, your specific responsibilities, and then the Cornell Dining Program.
Yeah, wonderful. So most recently, I accepted a promotion here at Cornell, which I'm really excited to take on. Currently, I still oversee Cornell Dining, and Cornell Dining is a very dynamic program. We have 10 all-you-care-to-eat residential dining facilities and over 20 retail locations, a catering operation. We also manage concessions and a food pantry on campus. And most recently, my responsibilities have expanded into the campus stores, where there are 4 stores, 1 in New York City, 3 up on the Ithaca campus, and also overseeing print services here on campus. So it's an exciting time. Really proud of the dining program. They're positioned extremely well for the future, but it's been a bumpy road. And I'm glad for the topics that we're talking about today. Hopefully, I can express things that we have done and help out other programs. I feel that, like I said, we're positioned pretty well for the future, or at least I think so. Who knows what the future holds, right? But yeah,
Right.
right now, as of today, I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, that's great, Dustin. Congratulations. That's well deserved. So now let's get to it. The first topic we wanted to talk about are the challenges with mission alignment. So, Dustin, could you talk a little bit about how you align the university's mission and dining's mission? What challenges you've faced in aligning these, and maybe an example of how you've overcome them?
Yeah, Rob, thank you. And as I mentioned earlier, I think that it's critical for me to be able to provide an example of aligning dining's purpose with the purposes of the university. So most recently, I'm proud to say that here at Cornell, we were expanding and we built a new dining hall called Morrison Dining. And in this facility, we were building a food lab. Well, because of a great partnership that we have with human ecology, they asked to partner with us in designing the food lab. So now we are more woven into the fabric of any person, any study, inspiring transformation, as I said earlier, for student campus life, right, and nourishing the future. What this food lab does was it positions Cornell Dining to be an active member of academics. So in this facility, it sits in the dining hall. It's fully transparent. So when students come in, they can see it. It's almost 500 square feet. And in this space is where we are planning on enhancing food literacy for the future. So what an impactful statement this is, right? We're looking bigger than dining. We're partnering with academics. We're partnering with our students to enhance the future of our student population, which we're very, very excited about that. It gives dining a seat at the table as well, right? We are actively working with academics to enhance the future of our student body and our programs and their programs. So I think it's really important to say, like I said earlier, having a seat at the table. This initiative right here, I think, really does a great job of tying all purpose statements together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I assume that in planning that, you are collaborating with folks outside of dining on the academic side, or were there other folks involved in planning that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, this would have never happened if it wasn't from a partnership that we had in our retail space, actually, dining retail. With
Yeah,
human ecology, we had a cafe in there, and we've built a great partnership along the way. And then that led to them wanting to help fund and support this Discovery Kitchen together. So it's just really a
Yeah.
great way to connect the dots of showing how you can partner with individuals across campus to really strengthen your program and strengthen the experience for our students. And align missions, purpose statements.
That's great. Uh, Here's our next topic is overcoming resource roadblocks in dining. So, having the right resources at the right time has always been a challenge in our industry. But now, in this, what we like to think of as our post-pandemic environment, staffing and supply chain issues, for example, have continued to challenge us. So, Dustin, in your world, what are, say, 2 or 3 resource limitations that you think are most notable roadblocks, to running your program as efficiently as you'd like, and what solutions have you been working on to overcome these?
Yeah, that's another great question. And you hit the nail on the head. And I wish I had something more dynamic to say than the 2 main roadblocks that I have, which are supply chain and labor shortages.
Mm,
And I don't see that those changing anytime soon. I mean, at least within
mm,
the next year and a half to 2 years. But we have to react. We have to be innovative. We have to be forward thinking of how we're going to tackle some of these things. And so one other thing that we need to be mindful of is at our universities, oftentimes you work within a central model. Maybe purchasing doesn't fall within the dining program. Maybe HR doesn't fall within the dining program. And you have to consider how equipped are they as well to help propel your program along, right? What other
mm,
investments have they made to
mm,
support the ever-changing landscape, right? So if you
mm,
have a purchasing department that you had a couple people that were in a central location, um, but that worked before the pandemic, but now based off all the challenges and shortages and substitutions, have they been able to right size that? And oftentimes they haven't. We're all up against headcount and make sure that we stick within budget, especially in those central lines of or those organizations, rather. Excuse me. So really, it's
mm,
supply chain, labor shortages, and then those supporting departments are they equipped to actually support you in your program? So some things
mm,
that you really need to think about when you're approaching these is flexibility. I think that's allowed us to navigate through this space as much
mm.
flexibility and simplification. We need to simplify our programs. The programs that we built a decade or took a decade to build to make them as dynamic as they are. You need to
Yeah.
simplify them a little bit to be able to support your team, to be able to still serve our students, and also to help with the supply chain issues and the labor issues that you have.
Mm,
Think that you also need to be really strong partners with your vendors. Do not point the finger at the folks that are supplying you and your partners
mm.
because they're up against it as well. So being able to be open-minded, flexible, simplifying your program a little bit, but not diluting it. There's very creative things that you can do to still create an amazing experience. Um, is some of the ways that we have combated some of these roadblocks and challenges.
Yeah, that's great. It's just as a follow-up, how are things looking for this fall as far as your like open positions and just staffing levels in general?
Yeah, so like I've said, we've been very innovative in this space, very aggressive in the hiring and recruiting space. So I'm proud to say right now that we are 92% fill rate with all of our frontline staff, which we have
Wow.
about 1,200 frontline staff, 600 student employees that work at Cornell Dining, 70 salaried managers. We have 69 of our 70 filled, and this is a small area too, and it's in upstate New York. So
Yeah.
very intentional, very aggressive approach about telling our story, explaining why it's great to work at Cornell Dining, why it's more than just making a meal, how you can advance your career here, not just
Mm,
Cornell Dining, but at Cornell. And that's been very appealing to folks, other than just saying, I'm going to pay you 50 cents more or $1 more than other
yeah.
organizations. So
Yeah.
that's helped us in the retention piece. And then ultimately, telling our story and highlighting our culture here at Cornell Dining. And those are all big topics that we could talk an hour about or 2 hours about in each, but really staying laser focused in those areas has yielded good results for our program. And as I mentioned earlier, why I feel like we're positioned really well for the future.
That's fantastic. So So our third topic is overcoming complexities, and this is kind of an understatement, but campus dining and really hospitality in general is a very complex business, and there's so many factors that go into balancing expectations versus the reality of what you can deliver, particularly given some of those resource constraints. So, wondering what some of the different challenges are relative to complexity that you've faced, and what strategies you've employed to overcome them.
The first thing that I have told my team is, do not be scared to fail. You shouldn't
Mm,
be scared to fail ever and at any point in time, but especially during these challenging times. Be creative, think differently about how we execute, how we prepare food, how we serve food, and ultimately getting to simplifying the program. If you're leaders out there that are still trying to drive the program that they were doing before the pandemic, if it was very aggressive, you're going to burn your staff out. You're going to dilute your culture, and you're going to lose people along the way. People are the most, as we all know, are the most important thing in our industry by far, more important than the ingredients that we use.
mm,
So really being able to let your team know it's okay to fail. We're going to have days that are going to be challenging, right? It's okay to simplify the program. Um, Let me give you an example. So at Cornell, we had 10 all-you-care-to-eat dining facilities, all running 10 different menus,
mm-hmm.
menu cycles, right? That's
Yeah,
a complex program. Now,
right.
we haven't gotten to the point where we are running the same menu cycle at every dining location. They're still much different, but we found synergies in saying, if we, because of supply chain shortages, and we know that we're short on chicken, but we can run pork in a different menu item, let's do that instead of trying to run chicken all over the place or beef or things along those lines, right? So just being really smart and flexible during these times has been very beneficial to us, and I hope that folks take up on some of this advice because we need to simplify the programs to alleviate some of the stress on our team members.
Yeah. That seems like a consistent theme through a number of topics that you've talked about, is kind of focusing on what you do best and simplifying. Uh, so this has been great. Really appreciate your time and your thoughts. Or any other kind of words of advice you might have for colleagues as they pursue success in their dining programs?
What I would say for anyone at any point in time, I don't have all the answers. Cornell Dining is not a perfect organization. We try to get better every single day. I would say that please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always there to help support the industry. An honor to be here as well, Rob. It means a lot. The one thing that I will say is, please do your team a favor and explain the why. If you're changing things, if you're simplifying things, if there's necessary changes that are happening, explain to them why that is happening. And if you can, in great detail, but make the message simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Um, and I think that those are the things that during these challenging times when there's still a lot of change going on, keep the message simple, but explain the why, so people aren't left in the dark. And
Mm,
I think that'll be very beneficial for your team and not only just your team, just your students, the people we serve, the people that you report up to, even, and not just down to your team. Make these messages as concise as you can, but often explain why you're making these decisions so people
mm,
um, aren't as challenged to figure out or don't have as many question marks in their head, I guess, as you
yeah.
need to make changes. Yeah.
Oh, it's well said. And again, Dustin, it's been a pleasure. It's great to see you. Really appreciate your thoughts and your openness to sharing. So thanks again, and take care. And I hope fall goes well for you.
Yeah, my pleasure, Rob. Thank you for the invite. I feel honored to be here. And for those that are out there listening, feel free to reach out at any point in time. As many of you know, I love to provide as much support as I can to the industry. So thanks, Rob. I appreciate it.